Hello, I'm Magnolia McComish, the town's communications coordinator, and we're back today with another episode of What's Cooking in Town. And today we are joined by the lovely town clerk, Sarah Haskell-Aruda. So Sarah, tell me, what's cooking today?
Today we're gonna make cheese quesadillas, but we're also gonna make some variations on it, and we're gonna make a fresh pico de gallo.
All right, so what's the first step in making this?
We're gonna need to chop up our tomatoes and our garlic. We've already chopped up our onions for our pico, and then we're gonna add some lime at the end to make it nice and fresh.
All right, so while we're cutting all this up and getting ready to make our pico, can you tell me about what is going on in the town clerk's office?
So the town clerk's office is super busy right now because we've got a state primary coming up on September 3rd. So we're getting ready for the last day to register to vote, which will be August 24th. And it also begins our early voting period. So on August 24th and then Monday through Friday of the following week, you'll be able to vote early at Town Hall while the Town Hall is open for normal business hours.
And so early voting, it doesn't matter what your precinct is, it's always at Town Hall?
Correct. There's only one place to vote during early voting. On the day of the election, September 3rd, you would go to your individual polling place.
Gotcha. I personally find early voting very convenient and easy to do from Town Hall, and I love working there and seeing everyone come in to vote early. There's just such good energy when it comes to voting, I find.
It is really fun, and we like to have that as an option, especially if someone's not going to be available on September 3rd.
And you don't need to sign up or anything for early voting, do you?
You don't. You just need to already be a registered voter, and then we will get you all checked in. This is a state primary, so it's important that people know that you have a choice if you are unenrolled of which ballot you'd like to vote, and that would be Democrat, Republican, or Libertarian. If you are enrolled in a party, like Democrat or Republican or Libertarian, you may only vote that ballot.
Gotcha. I know a lot of people have come into your office asking about unenrolled ballots. Can you clear the air on that a little bit?
Sure. So there's some confusion because a lot of people know that as being called independent, but independent is an actual party. So mostly what people want is they want a choice. They don't want to have to pick one particular party, and so that's unenrolled. But when there's a primary, you're required to pick a ballot because you're only entitled to that one ballot.
All right. How's your garlic coming along over
So my
there?
garlic is all ready.
All right, you want to help me with one of these tomatoes? We're just
Sure.
looking for a chop about, let's see, that big.
All right, I think I can do that.
And so that's what's coming up with this next election.
Yes.
What do you have to do for the election coming up as town clerk?
So myself and my team, we start months prior to an election planning. It used to be that elections were really only that election day. They were one day with a little bit of pre-planning. But now that we have all these ways in which we can vote both early and by mail, it adds a lot of responsibilities to the town clerk's office. So we've already sent out about 5,200 ballots to people who have requested them to vote by mail. So that takes a whole team of people to get those out. And then when they come back in to process them, we also do a really exciting thing in Dartmouth where we're able to check everybody in early that we get by mail, and we process those ballots. We never tally before 8 p.m. on election day, but we are able to take some of the pressure off of our poll workers by processing some of those ballots in advance.
That's awesome. And it seems like election days run really smoothly in Dartmouth.
So we do a lot of preparation so that we will be able to have the most fair and free elections without any kind of concerns or questions. But there are a lot of moving parts, and we're really appreciative at how patient residents and voters are with our process.
Yeah, I think seeing the behind the scenes of it now, it's a huge operation, and especially even in a town that's not massive like Dartmouth isn't.
Right.
It's still months of preparation and work, and there's deadlines that have to be met.
Correct. We are really lucky in Massachusetts that we have lots of guidance from the Secretary of the Commonwealth's office and how we need to make sure that we're doing things so that everything runs smoothly and is able to kind of go off without a hitch.
All right, so I'm done chopping my tomatoes, so I'm gonna start putting them in a bowl here.
So I've got a little bit of garlic and some tomato, and we can see if we need the other half of mine.
That should be good.
Okay.
All right. And yeah, we can put all that garlic in there. We'll have a nice fresh pico de gallo. All right, we're gonna need
A little bit of onion. How about some salt and pepper?
I like that idea a lot. I don't like these pieces.
Okay.
All right, and then I'm just gonna mix it with my hands. We're
All
all
right.
friends here.
Great. And then I'll get our lime ready. If we roll it, I think that it will make it a little more juicy.
So I'm personally not huge on measuring when I cook, and I've talked to many people about this. And some people are very big on measuring, others are not. I am not big on measuring, so I like to just put it in, and if it looks right, it looks right. So I'd say we probably have maybe 1.5 cups of chopped tomato in there, and then a handful of chopped onion in there, and half a lime, and we're gonna put a couple cracks of salt and pepper, and it's gonna be delicious. And if you want, you can add a little jalapeno to it for a little spice. But I think we're gonna find that it's gonna be all right just the way it is today.
Perfect.
And yeah, the lime's really, this is gonna sit for a couple minutes and it's gonna get a little
delicious.
juicy, and the flavors are all gonna get to know each other, and it's gonna be awesome.
I love it.
All right, so that is all set. We can put that back over here.
Such a good time with all of our fresh produce to make these things also. All right, so I think now we can go ahead and start heating our pans. So we'll have one pan for our tortillas, and then we're gonna dice up some orange pepper and heat up our already cooked shortcuts. They've already been seasoned and cooked, so we're just gonna heat them up.
Awesome.
And so we can have some variations. So do you wanna go ahead and cut this up, and I'll start heating our pans?
That sounds good.
All right.
I'll take it all over here. That way you have a little bit of space over there.
All right, so we're gonna heat up our pan. All right, and anything really can be added to this that you have on hand. Or just cheese makes me happy too.
Yeah, it's kind of like a grilled cheese. But
it is.
Zhuzhed up a little. So you want these chopped into like pieces like our tomato?
I think that's probably gonna be easiest to put on
Okay.
our quesadilla. All right. So I think that one's still heating up. So maybe we'll just try a classic cheese to begin with.
Yep.
I like to spray the pan just so our tortilla will not stick. It's all heated up, so we'll put down the base. We'll grab some cheese. You can really use any cheese that you'd like, but this is just a Mexican cheese blend. It's also delicious if you have a little feta to add that.
Oh, you know what's really good? Feta on French fries.
Do you melt it on there?
No, just like crumple it on.
I've never tried that.
Maybe on a future episode we'll dive into that.
That sounds amazing. Everything tastes good with feta. And then I just press it down so that it'll start to melt and be the glue.
So while you're doing that, we've talked a lot about the upcoming primary, a little bit about the presidential. Are there other elections coming up? Maybe not this year, but what feels like this year?
So 2024 absolutely was a busy election year, and we'll have completed 4 elections. And then starting in December, we'll already be getting ready for our local town election, which always takes place the first Tuesday in April. And that has all of our local offices on that ballot. But that work starts in December to start preparing all of the documents and the nomination papers, because those can be pulled right after the new year. And that's also the time that our town meeting members are re-elected, or people can run for those seats. And that's a really important role that we have here in the town of Dartmouth, because we're a representative town meeting community.
And speaking of town meeting,
Our fall town meeting will be coming mid-October.
Okay.
And that's an evening town meeting. So our spring town meeting is the full day, but the fall town meeting is just in the evening. And that will be between the September election and the November presidential election. So that's an exciting thing we'll be preparing for after the state primary.
So it sounds like you have a busy couple of months coming up.
We do. We really like it. It makes the time go by fast, and we get to interact with lots of voters and residents. So it makes our job a lot more fun. So I flipped this over, and it looks like it's getting all melty. And you can kind of have it as toasty or as dark on either side that you want. I don't like mine to be too toasted.
All right, and we'll get a plate ready for
Sure.
these as they come off.
And then as our pepper all ready, we can add some pepper and some onion to our pan. Ooh, nice. We'll turn that down a little bit.
You want more than that?
No, I think that's perfect.
All right.
Do you want to add a couple pieces of chicken to yours?
That sounds good. Should
All
we
right.
cut this up or put them in as is?
We can put them in as is.
All right.
We'll just lay them on our... All right, and this looks perfectly brown, so we're just gonna put it in our plate, and that one's done. It looks like we still have a fair amount of spray seasoning on there, so we won't need to add any more at the moment. But we'll just give this a chance to heat up a little bit, and then we'll add it to our next quesadilla.
Great. So it's very busy. What's your favorite part of all things town clerk or election?
That's a really good question. I like the variety. So I think that's my favorite part, that every day is a little bit different. So right now it is very election focused, but it'll be kind of spiced up a little bit with town meeting. I love attending town meeting and seeing the residents. Everybody's super engaged and excited to be there. So it's fun to interact with them. But then I like it when we get a little bit of time to kind of work on some other projects, such as, you know, cleaning up our voter registrations and getting things filed and organized. And one of the things I really enjoy the most is working on our archives. And we're trying to rehome a lot of our older birth, marriage, and death records. So we've gotten some new archival quality binders and such to move them over to. So that's a project that I really enjoy working on also.
Yeah, it's the research of it all.
I do, and a lot of people come in and they're looking for genealogical information. Those requests are really fun for us. It's kind of like being a little bit of a history detective, and so that kind of helps to break up a lot of the other activities that we're working on.
Awesome. All right.
I think this is ready, so let me start heating this up, and we'll put a little bit of cheese and then we can add those.
All right. And
this looks delicious. All right, so do you want to go ahead and we're just going to place these on here. You could even get these ready in advance. We're just going to spread it out. All right.
all right.
And we'll go ahead and we're going to put our, I think this might need a little more cheese.
I agree.
I want to make
I
sure we have
love
enough
cheese.
glue. So it's very easy, and you can really make it any way that you want.
Yeah, so what are some other things you put in your fajitas?
Ooh, it really depends on what we have in the fridge. If we were to have had tacos and we have some extra taco meat, we might put that in. Or sometimes you have a little extra barbecue from earlier in the week, you can add that. Or you could add linguiça or chorizo, anything really that you have on hand. And an old standby is always cheese. It's pretty comforting.
It just brings everything together.
Yes. All right. So that
Kind of
doesn't-
like how the elections bring the clerk's office together.
With a lot of town entities,
Yeah.
we joke about it, but there are a lot of players. So the library is helping because they're a polling place. Council on Aging is helping because they also are a polling place. Their facilities person and ours at Town Hall help set up all of those precincts for us.
The police are there.
The police come to every precinct. We also are lucky enough to have a lot of town employees that work after hours and on Saturdays to help me to
Yeah.
get ballots out, get them back in, and make sure that it's all running smoothly. And then we have about 50 poll workers that work on election day. and poll workers that do our early voting.
It really takes a town to make the election happen.
It does, and we're really lucky because people are so willing to help us here in Dartmouth.
Nope, that's okay. We're just losing a little chicken, but nothing
We're
that
just
can't
gonna
get tucked back in.
stick it back in there because this is not too serious.
No.
And we're just gonna let that melt a little bit and we'll be ready to go. And then I just do it the other way. Also. All right, and we can
And then we'll
spread those a little bit on our plate.
Why don't you take 2 of those and I'll take 2,
Beautiful.
and then we'll
We
split
can
this
try
one
'em.
also. We can try
Nice.
both.
There you go there. And let's check this one out and see. I think it's probably looking pretty good here now.
And then we have the guacamole, we have the pico to put on with this. So we've got a spoon of each of those.
And you could make a side of rice if you wanted, or a little bit of a salad, but we pretty much have covered all the food groups, I think, here.
I agree.
Let me put this on your plate for you.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So we're gonna put a spoon in there, spoon in there.
I like a little bit of sour cream on mine.
A little sour cream.
This smells delicious now that it's been sitting for a little bit. Oh, you already had that. This is a pre-made guacamole, but we could also easily make that if we needed to.
Yeah, you know how it is. Sometimes you get to the store and there's no soft avocados ready
And
for
you
you.
do not want that.
No, the hard ones are just not the same.
No.
All right, I'm going for the chicken one first.
Me
Are
too.
you? Okay.
I'm pretty excited about this. I haven't actually tried this kind of chicken, so I think it's gonna be really lovely.
I know, I love how this is a staple you can make different every time.
Yes. That seems to be why we go back to it, and it's so quick that you can have a nice hot meal.
All right. I'm really good.
All right, I'm gonna also try out our plain cheese.
The cheese is kind of like a vessel to put the toppings on.
I agree. Good, classic. Can't go wrong with a cheese quesadilla.
This is good. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for
and
having
making
me.
this awesome lunch. Thank you for sharing all things elections. It's been very informative, very insightful,
Good.
and you're always a pleasure.
Thank you. This was really fun. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So, thank you for watching.